Welcome to the Real Read Kids Corner.
Today, I will be reading the story Juna's Jar, written by Jane Bahk and illustrated by Felicia Hoshino. Juna's family always had a large jar of kimchi in their fridge. After they finished eating all the kimchi, Juna sometimes got to keep the empty jar. Juna loved to take the jar and go on adventures with her best friend Hector. They went to the park near their apartment building to collect colorful rocks and small bugs. Once, Hector found a green caterpillar. Juna worried that it wouldn't have what it needed to make a cocoon, so they let it go. One morning, Juna went looking for Hector to go on another kimchi jar adventure. She ran downstairs to his grandmother's apartment. Hi, Abuelita, Juna said to Hector's grandmother. Can Hector come out to play? Hola, Juna, Hector's grandmother said, giving her a hug. I'm sorry, Hector is not here. Then she told Juna that his parents had come the day before and taken Hector to live with them in a big house far away. Hector had wanted to say goodbye, but Juna was not home. Juna was very sad. When she got back home, her big brother Minho tried to cheer her up. He took Juna to Mr. Lee's pet shop and brought her a small fish. Juna watched the fish swim in circles in her jar. That night, when everyone else was asleep, Juna put on a diving mask and fins and dove into the water. Juna's fish took her everywhere. They swam with sea turtles, played with dolphins, and discovered a giant clam. Can you help me find my friend Hector? Juna asked her fish. They swam to a dark underwater cave. Hector wasn't there, but they found huge snakes slithering in the sand. When Juna got closer, she saw that they were actually tentacles. Juna wondered if they belonged to an octopus or a giant squid. I wish Hector was here, Juna thought. He knows everything about animals. By the next day, Juna's fish had grown so big its mouth nearly touched its tail. Opa, my fish needs more space, Juna said to Minho. With his help, Juna put her fish in the aquarium in the living room. Juna's jar was empty again. Minho had an idea. He gave Juna a small bean plant he had grown at school for science class. They found some soil and carefully put the plant in the jar. That night, when everyone else was asleep, Juna put on her hiking boots and climbed down the plant into a lush green rainforest. Juna swung on vines, climbed a tree with a sloth, and sang with howler monkeys. Have you seen my friend Hector? She asked them all. One monkey pointed to the river and jumped away. As Juna got closer to the water, she saw that the rocks in the river began to move. They weren't rocks at all. It was the back of an alligator or a crocodile. She wasn't sure which one it was. I wish Hector was here, she thought. He would know. By the next day, Juna's plant had almost reached the ceiling. Opa, my plant grew too big for my jar, Juna said. Minho helped Juna put the plant into a large pot on their balcony. Juna's jar was empty again. Minho and Juna walked to the park. A cricket chirped in the bushes. Juna quietly snuck up to the cricket and cupped her hands around it. Then she placed it gently into her jar. Minho helped her find twigs and leaves, and they put them in the jar too. When they got home, Juna punched holes in the lid of the jar so the cricket could breathe. That night, when everyone else was asleep, Juna put on goggles and a helmet and hopped on the cricket's back. Juna and the cricket rode through the night sky together. They flew over tall buildings that looked like giant steps leading to the moon. They followed a trail of cars that lit up the hill like a string of holiday lights. Then the cricket landed on the windowsill of a big house. Juna peeked into the window. There was Hector asleep in his bed, and on the bedside table was the kimchi jar Juna had given him. Hector looked like he was having happy dreams. Juna smiled. "Bye, Hector," she whispered. Then she hopped onto the cricket's back and flew home. By the next day, the cricket's antenna had poked through the holes in the jar's lid. "Oppa, the cricket grew too big for my jar too," Juna said. So Minho and Juna walked to the park and set the cricket free. Juna's jar was empty again. Juna looked around the park and wondered what she could put in her jar next. "I wish," she thought. "Look what I found," a girl behind her said. "Can we put it in your jar?" Juna turned around. A green inchworm was wiggling on the girl's arm. Juna smiled and held out her jar. Well, I hope you enjoy the read aloud of Juna's jar. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. Thank you in advance for your support. See you next time. Goodbye.